All right, I see a question. So Veronica York George wants to know, Attorney Pearson, would you represent Nowak if he reached out to you? Now, I have been asked this kind of question before, and I always tell people I am a student of Johnny Cochran. May he rest in peace. That man was one of the greatest to ever practice law. And one of the first things he said to young attorneys is, you do not answer that kind of question. You do not answer who you would or wouldn't represent, and you never predict the outcome of a case. Okay, so unfortunately, that is a question that I'm not going to provide an answer to. All right, JW National says, can they prosecute his wives? What about his current minor girlfriend? All right, so first question, can they prosecute his wives if they can prove that his wives were aware of and involved in his inappropriate conduct with this minor? Then hypothetically, they could prosecute his wives. Second part of the question, what about his current minor girlfriend? I don't know if you mean the mother of this minor or if you mean that he actually has a girlfriend who's a minor. I'm not sure there. But if you're referring to the minor's mother, again, they would have to prove that she was aware of what was happening and that she allowed it to happen, right? Not that she found out after the fact, because after the fact, we know that she was a part of it being reported. Anything on that, Zion, before I move on to the next question?
No, none at all.
Just checking, because you looked like, the wheels were spinning. So I thought, does he have a question?
I'm still cooking something up.
Okay, all righty. Listen, would jump in whatever. All right, so let's see. Oh, Chief X is here. Wait a minute. Hello to Chief X. Yet another awesome content creator here on YouTube. Check him out. All right. Okay, let's see. So Bars and Chains says, do you think we could get fair jury trial with all the videos online talking about it? So I like this question for a number of reasons. I'm going to start with the first question. The first reason that I like this question. The question of, do you think we could get? So Bars and Chains, unless you are Michael Nowak, unless you are, which I don't think you are not the person that would be on trial. And I pulled out that word because I want to challenge us as, just as people here in this space of YouTube, and especially on my channel, to separate yourselves from people that we discuss. We are discussing the law. We're having a professional, legal, unbiased conversation. But learn to separate yourself from a lot of these quote unquote public figures. So unless you are Michael Nowak, Bars and Chains, you're not the one on trial. Okay. Now, do I think that he could get a fair jury trial? I do, because although there is a sector of people online having this buzzing conversation, there are still many people out there who have no idea who he is or what we're discussing. Okay. All righty. I see a question from Octavius Prime that I'll address for a minute. Octavius Prime would like to know, how much prison time is he facing if he goes to trial? Octavius Prime, please see the state of Florida versus Brother Polight, part 1. Therein, you will find the answer to your question as well as a full breakdown of his charges. All right, Sam Sims. I believe Polight will say his DNA was on the girl as a result of his interactions with the mother. Would that defense stand up in court? What will prosecutors argue in response? Wonderful questions. So the first question is, would it stand up in court if hypothetically, allegedly, Michael Nowak tries to argue that his DNA was found on this girl as a result of interactions with the mother? Well, quite frankly, that depends on how he can substantiate that, right? So if in fact he decides to provide that sort of defense, then perhaps his defense attorney would provide some sort of forensic scientist, right? That could testify to how DNA can remain on clothing over a length of a period of time, right? Because the argument would have to be made that perhaps the girl was wearing her mother's clothing or there was some sort of transfer. And to make that sort of elevated scientific argument, they would need an expert. So an expert witness who supported that argument, they could make it. And if their expert was deemed to be credible enough, maybe it would hold up in court. I will say this, though. If you were not familiar with Nicki Minaj's brother, I believe his name is Jelani Mirage, he faced some similar kind of, accusations. And one of his defenses was DNA transfer, that somehow his DNA ended up in certain places on the minor by way of it being transferred from somewhere else. So from the mother or the mother's clothing or etc. And that defense did not stand up. He was convicted. Okay, so now the second part is, what will prosecutors argue in response? So of course, if in fact this argument is made, hypothetically, prosecutors would also have their own scientists who would rebut that testimony. Okay, I'm back in the chat. Interesting. Okay, so JW National Web Design says, what about his current wife being 16 when they got married? So I was sent a clip of an interview with Michael Nowak and two women who he identifies as his wives. One of the women alleged that she was 16 when she met him. Here is the thing. She does not allege that she was 16. Well, actually, she doesn't say she was 16 when she met him. I don't think that's what she says. But I think she says she was 16 when she started speaking to him and the other wife, right? I believe so. But here's the bottom line. She does not say that he began to touch her in any way, be physical with her in any way, or even speak to her romantically in any sort of way when she was still 16, right? At least not from what I saw. So that would not be relevant unless somehow they could find evidence of that, okay? Oh boy, I see a question that I'm going to answer, although the way that it's phrased isn't my favorite phrasing, but okay. Yeah. So the question is, can Mr. Nowak sue YouTube content creators? Okay. So here it is, people. When you position yourself to be a public figure, you forfeit a certain amount of privacy. The law views public figures as people who people can discuss, people can talk about within reason. So Michael Nowak fashions himself to be a sort of public figure, right? I mean, yeah, he does. So now he already has the reduced privacy protection because he's a pseudo public figure, right? Now you add the fact that people are not discussing allegations from the back of the woods somewhere. People are discussing allegations that are in a police report as provided by the Miami-Dade clerk's office. That is public record. So what cause of action would Michael Nowak have? He doesn't have defamation because false statements are not being made, right? People are reading police reports. People are reading charges from the clerk's office. So there's no false statements. He also doesn't have harassment because, again, people are reviewing public records and he is a pseudo public figure. He doesn't have intentional infliction of emotional distress because, again, pseudo public figure, public records. So I do not see what the cause of action would be. Of course, perhaps he could find some lawyer somewhere who would say, yeah, we can do it. But would it be successful? I don't think so. Okay. Sexy Star says, will the prosecutor get video from the hotel he went to with the victim and use that as evidence? And will the jury look at the health condition of the victim after she left the hotel? So yes and yes. If possible, the prosecutors will want to get video surveillance from that hotel to show the minor allegedly entering with Michael Nowak, leaving with Michael Nowak, right? And the jury will also want to see, if available, any medical records that substantiate that something occurred to her while she was there. Okay. All righty. Let's see. I see some people here who want to be in timeout. I don't get it. You come here, I would think you want to hang out, have a legal convo, skip through the meadow with me and Zion Lexx, but no. You want to come here starting trouble and finding yourself in timeout. I don't get it. Bars and Change says, could his bond get revoked at the next court hearing? Yes, it could. Bail/bond can always be revisited. So it is possible that at the next hearing, it's revisited and a different decision is made. All right, question. Oh, K Business wants to be a moderator. Absolutely. Let's make that happen. K Business, you are now a mod. Okay, I see another good question here. Oh, what happened to the question? Oh, here we go. Sam Sims says, what does a good lawyer look like for this case? Meaning, for anyone facing these charges, what qualities or specialties should they look for in a lawyer? I love this question. Let's have a conversation about what you should look for in any lawyer, right? So first, if you are going to hire an attorney, you go to the State Bar website. We've been having this combo a lot, but let's do it again. You go to the State Bar website for your state and you go to attorney lookup. You first want to make sure that that attorney actually has an active license, right? So you want to make sure they are a licensed attorney. Don't take their word for it. The attorney lookup will also tell you if they've had some, major disciplinary action on their license. So first things first, you're going to hire an attorney, go to the State Bar attorney lookup and make sure they are a licensed attorney. Now, qualities that you want in a lawyer. Again, you know that we like to have a level of authenticity here, right? I like to be authentic. So I'm about to tell you some things that I think most lawyers wouldn't tell you, but this is the truth. You want a lawyer who is likable. If you meet them and you don't like them, forget it. Because if you don't like them, judges don't like them. If you don't like them, juries won't like them. And likability is very important. If someone is not liked, then people usually just start tuning them out. So if you get an attorney who's not likable, the minute he or she starts speaking, no one is listening. And now you're in trouble. Okay. So likability. Are they a likable person? Again, look and make sure they have a valid license, right? And then ask them about their experience in your area. So if you are hiring an attorney, for example, facing these kinds of charges, ask them, have you defended people before with my exact charges? How did that turn out? Can we discuss what your tactics were in that case? So those are the main things. Valid license, experience in your area, likability, underscore, highlight, likability, bold letters, likability. Likability is everything. If you don't like them, no one else will, and you're in trouble. Okay.
I wanted to give you an exclusive.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So, according to sources who are close to the alleged victim's mom, apparently there may be allegedly a video surveillance tape from outside of the hotel, which may in fact be showing Brother Polight struggling with the victim's mom and preventing her from retrieving her child, according to said sources. My question for you is, if such a video exists, how much of a bearing does that have in the case?
If there is video surveillance which shows Michael Nowak struggling with the minor's mother and trying to prevent the mother from retrieving the minor, that insinuates quite a few things. First, that insinuates that the minor was in some sort of condition that Michael Nowak did not want the mother to see her in. Again, going back to the allegation that he perhaps gave her alcohol or he allegedly drugged her, right? That allegation that he made her incapacitated in some way, that feeds into that. because it's valid that if she was incapacitated, allegedly, he wouldn't want her mother to see her that way. Because the minute the mother sees her that way, she would think, what is wrong with my child? What have you done to my child? So that's the first thing. The second thing is it also feeds into the allegations that he did something inappropriate with her. Because again, if he did something inappropriate as alleged, he would not want the mother to see the child right away because perhaps the child is still traumatized. Maybe she's still in a state where she's, upset, and he does not want the mother to see the minor like that. So if that surveillance exists, it does support the current allegations.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Rose says, this lady is smart. I wish she was my friend. Rose, we are friends. Welcome to the club. All righty. Black Anonymous has a question. Another content creator here. All right. Black Anonymous says, oh, is that a question? Yeah. I'm thinking kidnapping could have been a charge because he took the child away without permission. What do you think at Empowered Esquire TV? So I would think that if the prosecution felt they had the evidence to prove kidnapping, they would have charged it. And we know that he was not charged with kidnapping. So we can insinuate that possibly, hypothetically, they do not have the evidence to prove that Michael Nowak was with this minor without permission. Because if they did, they probably would have charged kidnapping. Okay? Just my thoughts. I do not see any other questions. Wait. Crime Spotter says, why is it Polight not stating he's guilty? Any legal reasons? Crime Spotter, do you mean not stating that he's not guilty?
Yeah, I think that's probably what they mean.
We're going to go with that. We're going to go with why isn't Polight stating that he's not guilty? So I'm going to give you the lawyer answer and then the authentic answer, right? The real talk answer. So the lawyer answer is perhaps he was told or advised by his attorneys not to address his guilt or innocence. Perhaps his attorney said to him, do not address your guilt or innocence online. And maybe that's why. Now, the person answer, right? The real talk answer is perhaps he feels that he would not be able to say that. Perhaps that's why he hasn't said it. Maybe. Allegedly. All right. Let's see. Questions. Okay, so someone wants to know. This is a good question. Daryl Jackson wants to know, can the charges be amended? Yes. Yes, they can be amended. Very often, superseding indictments and things like that are filed, whereas charges are amended. So charging documents are amended all the time. It can happen. Yes, the charges can be amended. Okay. Major Moves wants to know what will happen at the first appearance. Well, Major Moves, there are a couple of things that could happen, right? So as we've discussed, bail could be revisited, right? And also it could be discussed in regards to what preliminarily, at least, what evidence the prosecution has and any type of motion practice that may need to take place before a potential trial. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm scrolling through. Coco Brownie says he's lawyered up. Yes, he is. His attorney is a man named David Taurus. JW National says, what about the state taking away his newborn child and relocating the mother due to his predatory ways? Good question. So I am actually in possession of a document, a complaint that was filed by Michael Nowak, in which he alleged he was suing ACS, the state of New York, the city of New York, a caseworker, and the mother of his daughter. This is back in 2014, I believe. I decided not to trot this stuff out. I don't remember why I decided not to. I don't know. For some reason, I decided, I'll leave it alone. You know why? Because Chief X and a few other people already addressed it, and I said it's beaten. Chief X discussed it, and I think, oh my goodness, I hope I do not butcher his channel name, Moorish TV.
Yes. Shout out to Moorish TV. Mm-hmm.
There you go. He discussed it as well. So I thought, it's been covered. They don't need me to cover it as well. But There is a complaint in which Michael Nowak alleges that ACS pretty much refuses to allow him to be in his child's life. I don't know for sure that the mother was relocated based on ACS's actions. I'm not sure about that. But I will say this. That case in particular, if there was an ACS case as is being alleged, right? So I did not see ACS documentation. So I'm saying if there was an ACS case as is being alleged, that could be something that's relevant in this case. Because remember, one of the charges in this case, other than the intimate charges, is what? Contributing to the delinquency of a minor. So this ACS case in which ACS said, we don't think that you're a good look for a newborn child, that could be made relevant in this case. Perhaps the prosecutors in this case may go to the state of New York and contact ACS and say, can you send us that documentation? We'd like to use it. So yes, that conduct, because it is conduct that involves a minor and it is allegations of endangering a minor in some way, not being fit to be around a minor. And that could most certainly be found to be relevant in this case. Daryl Jackson, by the way, we're at 8:09. So I will ask our guest if he has any other questions. And then if he'd like to go, I'll let him go. We're not going to hold him hostage, but I'll stick around for some more questions. All right. Daryl Jackson says, is there anything in his past that can demonstrate a consistent pattern of behavior or a propensity for said charges? Okay. So let's stick to pattern, because propensity evidence in general is not allowed, right? So it's not propensity, it's a pattern. Let's stick to pattern. So you have allegations from people who once knew him in regards to a young lady that he allegedly was inappropriate with. Then you have ACS allegedly saying that he wasn't fit to be around his own child. Then you have videos in which he tends to insinuate that contact with a minor is okay. All of these things, when you put them together, the argument could be made that you're looking at a pattern. Question from, oh, wait, it disappeared. All right, question from Venom. Can he be charged for the threats that he is making online towards people that may have information about his present crimes or past crimes that may go with these crimes? Well, any threats that he's making online could definitely be something that people could file police reports. People could say they're being cyber stalked, say they're being cyber harassed if he's making threats online. But as far as this case, probably not. Okay, probably not.
Could I ask you if,
yes.
if in fact the case actually goes to trial, right? And matter of fact, let me preface it with this statement. Does his court date on September 15th automatically indicate that this is going to trial? Could you first differentiate that for us? Someone having a court date and someone having a trial.
So if you look at the Miami-Dade clerk's office and you look at what they say the status of the case is, they state that the next court date is a pre-hearing, right? It's a preliminary hearing. It is not the trial. And there are still many things that could happen before trial, right? We still have the possibility that the charges are amended, as we discussed. We still have the possibility that bail conditions are amended, as we discussed. And we also still have the possibility that some sort of deal is made and Michael Nowak decides to, plead guilty. We also have the possibility that the prosecution decides, you know what, we're actually not going forward with the case. That is still a possibility.
Okay, and which leads to my follow-up question. So in the case that the case actually goes to trial, and let's say damaging evidence begins to accrue against Brother Polight's narrative, how much will his YouTube bravado videos hurt him at that point if evidence is being surmounted and built and stacked against his favor, and then the prosecution pulls up all of the videos of him showing bravado and this is nothing and making light of the case? What do you say to that?
So what I say to that is that his attorneys should advise him to get off of social media. I've said this several times that his attorney should, and maybe they are, and he's just not listening. Because I can say as an attorney, sometimes clients do not listen. But they should be advising him to get off of social media. I watched your interview on Tasha K, on Tasha K's channel, and I see when Tasha mentioned, I haven't seen the video myself, I have to say that, but I see when Tasha mentioned that she viewed a video of Michael Nowak right after these charges became public, pretty much talking about women that he's been with in an intimate way, bragging about having been with a lot of women. That is not a good look, especially when you're facing these type, this type of allegations. So he should get off social media. Truth be told, he should just get off social media, because all of these things, as I said, a diligent, zealous prosecutor is going to argue for all of these things in hopes that the judge will say, I'll allow it. And then all of this YouTube stuff gets brought into court.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do you have any other questions? Would you like to go? Like I said, we're not going to hold you hostage. I'm going to stick around for.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna allow you to close out. But the first thing I want to do is say it was an honor to be on your show. Like I said, I watched the first video, and from watching it, the first thing I said is we got to have a conversation publicly as well. So I'm glad that we were able to accomplish that. Much success to you in the future, and I hope to maybe have another dialogue sometime in the near future. Have a blessed evening. All right.
Thank you. You're welcome back anytime. Have a good one and recover well.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
Everyone say goodbye to our guest. Mr. Zion Lexx is leaving the building. All right. All righty. So I see we got a good conversation going on in the chats. I'm going to shout out some of my OGs because I can't get around to every single person today. Take R. Kelly. Hello, darling. Sir Anthony. Hello. How are you? Let's see. I'm scrolling through. Like I said, just shouting out a few people that I know I've seen around before. Lisa Johnson, how are you? Gorgeous profile pic, by the way. Okay, honey. Slay. Let's see. All righty. So I think that's it for the OGs, right? So if you're new here, if you're a newbie, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to stick around for a little longer and take a few more questions. A. Womack has a question. The fact that Polight was given bail and allowed to travel back to California, does this mean that the prosecution doesn't have much of a case? A. Womack, you should go back to the beginning of the stream. We had an entire conversation about bail. I actually put up a document where I explained what bail is and why it is that he could have been granted bail. Okay, so take a little trip back to the beginning of the stream and check that out. And Amara Sharice, hello. Hello, yes, catch it on the replay. All righty. So any other questions? I don't really see any. Oh, wait, Venom. Can the people in the HOK that are making intimidating comments on the case be held accountable? Yes. Anyone that is threatening people online, threatening any type of physical violence or something like that, that can be deemed cyber harassment or cyber bullying, and there are civil causes of action for that. Okay, so I would not advise anyone to be online bullying other people. You should just allow people to have their opinion, agree to disagree. Que sera, sera. All righty. Oh, Rose made a good point. If you're in the building, hit the thumbs up button. Why? Because you're here, we're having a good time, and you're getting your legal questions answered. I mean, come on now. Hit the thumbs up if you're here. Garnett Crawford has a question. Oh my goodness, here it is. Almost lost it. Garnett Crawford, would the prosecution look at Polight's finances? It depends, right? If for some reason they thought there was something in his finances that could be relevant to their case, then yes. Nene Baby would like to know what happens if his attorney asks to be removed. Well, if the attorney petitions the court to withdraw as counsel, more than likely the court will approve. His attorney can withdraw, and then he's free to retain new counsel. All righty. All right, Pop Off Gaming says, can someone please answer this question for me? If the police have 100% DNA evidence from this person that is being accused, Will the judge give that person bail? Pop Off Gaming, please go back to the beginning. I'm sorry that I took that deep breath on you. Transparent moment. But if you're just joining us and you have a question about bail, go back to the beginning of the stream, please and thanks. Let us see. I'm just scrolling through, plucking out questions as I go along. Health Light says, if he makes contact with the minor, will it damage the case? It could. It could, depending on the contact that is being made, especially if it's threatening contact. Damage the case, actually. Let me change that answer. Depending on the contact being made, if for some reason it is contact that suggests that they are on amicable terms, maybe that could damage the case because that could give the impression of them being amicable and there not actually being any contention about what occurred, which suggests that maybe it did not actually happen. Possibly, hypothetically. All right, I don't see any other questions that we can really review. I see Sun, Moon, and Stars. You have a question that I already answered, so take it back a bit, right? And you'll see the answer to that. Jessica Holmes, I see you also have a question that I'll put up. Jessica Holmes says, if the victim does not wish to testify on the stand, can her forensic interview be used, assuming that one was performed? Yes. Jessica, go back to the beginning of the stream. We talked about evidence-based prosecution. So listen, if you're catching this on the replay, hello, how are you? Welcome. At the beginning of this stream, we discussed bail. We discussed why it is that Michael Nowak could have been granted bail via what the legal requirements for bail are. So if you have a question about bail, go back to that. We also discussed evidence-based prosecution, i.e. cases in which the prosecution goes forward with a case without having a cooperative victim. So when the victim decides not to be a part of the case, not to go forward, but the government goes forward anyway, that is also at the beginning of the stream. All right. Crime Spotter would like to know, would he have to register as an offender even if there's a plea? Well, Crime Spotter, that depends on the plea. If the plea is some type of, as we say on this channel, intimate offense, then yes, he would have to register. But if the plea is not that type of offense, then he would not have to register. All right. Alrighty, so I am going to go ahead and hop on out now. If you have a question that for some reason I did not get to, put it in the comments below. You know, I'm very active in the comments. If there's anything that you all could say about me, you got to give me that. You got to give me that I'm in those comments, right? You're asking questions, I'm answering. You're asking questions, I'm answering. I'm liking, I'm saying hello, what's up, how are you? So if there's a question that you have that I did not get to, drop it in the comments below. And if you're watching this on the replay and you have a question, you are more than welcome to put it in the comments as well. So this has been another installment of Empowered Esquire TV, where we, new tagline, empower you with legal knowledge. I hope you feel empowered by the information I shared today, because you are powerful and amazing in your own right. It's been a good one. I'll see you later.